Hey, Randy Barton with you for the coaching moment this week. Randy Barton from Extreme Faith and Fitness and Team Beachbody Coach. So I skipped a week of doing a coaching moment for the fact when getting these challenge groups underway, but in doing the challenge groups, I had a really good question come up from one of the participants in one of the challenge groups. This is actually going out to you, Natalie. You had a question today about eating and eating the same thing for you and your son, which is very difficult for many people because you want to get a healthy lifestyle, but not everybody has time to make several gourmet meals throughout the day, and you just run out of time, and you're going to run out of money as well. I know that for my family, money is a big issue because we have 6 people in our family, and we don't make millions of dollars. So as we look at this, we've got to consider